Picture this: a 90-year-old man cruising down the street on a riding lawnmower with grocery bags strapped to the deck. Neighbors stop, stare, and laugh. Some whisper maybe he lost his license, but the truth? This wasn't about groceries. This was about revenge. Sweet, stubborn, decades in the making revenge. Against his own wife. If you've ever been underestimated, if anyone's ever told you that you couldn't do something, and you've secretly dreamed of proving them wrong, smash that like button. Subscribe, because today, you're about to hear one of the funniest, most heartwarming revenge stories you'll ever find on the internet. Grandpa was a man of quiet pride. The kind of man who measured his worth not in words but in action. A Vietnam vet, a father, a husband of more than 70 years. By the time he reached his 90s, his body had slowed, but his mind, still sharp as a tack. And then there was Grandma, his equal in every way, sharp-tongued, witty, and practical to the core. If Grandpa was the dreamer, Grandma was the anchor. She believed in needs over wants, and she believed her husband, her stubborn, sweet husband, didn't need a riding mower. "We don't even have a yard big enough to use one," she told him one morning, coffee steaming in her hand. "You'd never use it." Her words stung more than she realized, because behind her practicality was a challenge, a subtle dismissal. And Grandpa? Grandpa never forgot a challenge. Imagine spending your whole life proving people wrong, surviving war, raising a family, building a life, and now in your twilight years the person you love most tells you you can't. It wasn't just about the mower. It was about pride, validation, the need to show after decades that he still mattered, that his choices still held weight. So one summer afternoon, Grandpa did what any man with a stubborn streak would do. He went out and bought the damn riding mower. When he rolled it into the driveway, the machine gleaming under the Missouri sun, Grandma shook her head. "Ridiculous. You'll never use it." Grandpa smiled. That slow, mischievous smile, the kind that told you something was about to happen. And oh, it did. He mowed the yard once, sure. But after that, he strapped a basket to the mower, and he started driving it everywhere. The grocery store, the park, the doctor's office 3 streets over, even bowling night with his buddies. Neighbors gawked, kids pointed, drivers honked. But Grandpa never flinched. Every rumble of that engine down the street was his declaration. "You said I wouldn't use it. Watch me." It didn't take long for him to become a local legend. People whispered, "There goes the mower man." Some assumed he'd lost his license. Others thought he'd been caught drinking. But Grandpa hadn't touched a drop of alcohol since Vietnam. His license? Still valid. This wasn't necessity. This was strategy. Revenge by consistency. And Grandma? She couldn't say a word, because every day he was proving her wrong. He was using it. Not only that, he started mowing the whole neighborhood, Mrs. Johnson's yard, the miller's patch of grass, even the abandoned lot at the end of the street. Each time, Grandma would glance out the window and see her husband, white hair under a ball cap, hands gripping the wheel, that same stubborn grin plastered on his face. The unspoken message hung in the air. Never use it, huh? You see, this wasn't just about petty revenge. For Grandpa, it was about dignity. At 90 years old, people stop expecting much from you. They treat you like you're fragile, fading. But on that mower, he was in control. He had purpose. Every trip to the grocery store, every lap around the block was his way of saying, "I'm still here. I still matter." And maybe deep down, Grandma knew it too. Maybe she even respected it. But of course, she'd never admit it out loud. One evening, as the sun dipped below the Missouri sky, Grandpa pulled back into the driveway. Grocery bags balanced on the mower deck. Grandma stood at the porch, arms folded. "All this? For a lawnmower?" she asked. He cut the engine, stepped off, and looked at her with a twinkle in his eye. "Told you I'd use it." It was the smallest victory, but to him it was everything. The man who'd been told no had carved out his yes. Grandpa kept at it until the very end. He passed away peacefully in his sleep next to Grandma, and in a twist so poetic it almost feels scripted. She passed just 6 hours later, after calling all their kids to say goodbye. Together until the very last breath, even in death still side by side. And yet if you asked anyone in that neighborhood what they remembered most, it wasn't their deaths. It was the sight of a 90-year-old man mowing lawns and driving to the grocery store on a riding mower. fueled by nothing more than pride, love, and a little bit of revenge. Grandma said he'd never use it. Grandpa made sure the whole town knew she was wrong. Every engine roar, every blade of grass cut, every trip down the street was a victory lap. The sweetest revenge? He didn't just prove her wrong. He became unforgettable while doing it. Sometimes revenge isn't about anger. Sometimes it's about proving you're still capable, still worthy, still alive. And maybe, just maybe, it's about showing the people you love most that even in your 90s, you've still got a little fight left in you. If this story made you smile, or if you've ever seen someone pull off a petty but perfect act of revenge, hit that like button. Drop your favorite revenge story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got plenty more stories of karma, justice, and sweet, sweet payback coming your way.